Did Mike Tyson and Jake Paul really fix their boxing match? That's the question shaking up the boxing world right now. A lawsuit has been filed accusing both fighters of staging their highly publicized bout, and if proven true, it could spell big trouble for both men. But how did we get here, and why are people so convinced this fight wasn't real?
Fights are 100% scripted. When Mike Tyson fought Jake Paul, he hit him with a strong right hand. Jake Paul then made this face to signal to Mike to calm down. He also made the same face when he fought Tyron Woodley. It literally looks like he's sending a signal. Jake Paul knocked Tyron Woodley out with a right hook. Tyron Woodley just so happened to face plant, which is very unlikely. Tyron Woodley got knocked out in the perfect position to promote.
Allegations began swirling almost as soon as the fight ended now. These rumors have taken a serious turn with legal action, accusing both Tyson and Paul of orchestrating the entire event for profit. If true, this could have huge consequences not just for their careers, but for the sport itself.
Into the feedback on the fight.
You can clearly see Tyson was holding back his punches.
They just want me to lose. That's the only way they would have thought it was entertaining. And people are like, oh, it's rigged because look at him on the pads, but he didn't do this in a fight. Because someone is back, you dumb. People don't realize my power.
That is true.
And my jab and my speed and my ability and my footwork to get.
There were moments where he seemed to pull punches or hold back, something fans found strange for a man who built his career on being relentless. And Jake Paul, for all his bravado, didn't seem to be pushing the pace either. To critics, it almost looked like both fighters were just going through the...
Would be happier if he never does this again. Stephen A, you said he looked old. Yeah, he is old. He's 58. And there's a reason why you stepped away from the game 20 plus years ago. If you thought you still had that in you, you would have kept fighting. You said you didn't have that in you anymore. It was bad. It was bad. And Stephen A, I want to echo everything that you said. This man owes a lot. He had a transfusion, almost lost his life, lost 25 pounds. Kudos. But bro, when you step into the ring, we got to set that aside. We got to judge you on your performance. And that performance was...
But why would they do that? That's where the lawsuit comes, and the claim suggests the match was designed not as a real competition, but as a way to generate massive pay-per-view sales and split a huge payday. Tyson and Paul are accused of choreographing a fight that would draw millions of viewers while ensuring neither man got seriously hurt. It's a bold accusation, but for many fans, it lines up with what they saw in the ring.
Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, it's come out now. It was rigged. I can't believe it. You know, you have to question the validity of boxing these days when you can't trust two professionals to get in the ring and do their best against each other. And instead you find out Mike Tyson pulling his punches, not trying to hurt Jake Paul. Absolute disgrace. I thought better of him. You know, I really did. I thought that Mike Tyson especially, Iron Mike, he was just going to go in there and knock Jake clean out. But here he is, not trying. I'm so disappointed.
Adding fuel to the fire is the stark difference between Tyson's training footage and his performance during the fight. In the weeks leading up to the bout, Tyson looked like a beast in the gym videos, showed him throwing rapid, powerful combinations that reminded fans of his prime, but on fight night, that speed and in it were nowhere to be seen. Some attribute this to his age. After all, Tyson is 58, but others think it's a sign the fight was scripted. They argue it's impossible for someone to look that sharp in training and then so flat in the actual match. Jake Paul isn't coming out of this unscathed either. Critics point out that Paul has faced accusations of rigging fights before, most notably after his knockout win against Tyron Woodley. His manager Nisa Badarian has repeatedly denied these claims, saying Jake trains hard and earns his wins fair and square. But the whispers of fight fixing haven't gone away, and this lawsuit only adds to the suspicions surrounding Paul's career.
Bothers me is the continued kind of narrative and people saying the fight was rigged. I saw something from Michael Irwin. Irwin,
the football player. Yeah.
He was on the broadcast. He actually sat there with Jerry Jones. I saw something this week where he's like, oh yeah, I saw the contract and Mike couldn't throw an uppercut. Like, are you... I'm concerned that there's a CTE problem there for Michael Irwin, because how would you see the contract to begin with that, you know, Mike Tyson couldn't throw an uppercut? I mean, it's beyond lunacy in the realm of like just reality of...
Still, there's another side to this story. Some argue the fight wasn't rigged. It was just a poorly executed exhibition. They point out that Tyson is almost 60, and expecting him to fight like he did in his 20s isn't realistic. As for Paul, he's still relatively new to boxing and facing a legend like Tyson, even in an exhibition, was a tall order. According to this view, the match wasn't fixed. It was just a mismatch of expectations, but the lawsuit has opened a can of worms that won't be easy to close with. You believe the fight was staged or not? One thing is clear, this controversy is far from over. Tyson and Paul are now under the microscope, and the outcome of this case could have a lasting impact on their careers. Was it all just a clever way to make money, or was this a genuine fight that didn't live up to the hype? That's for the courts and the fans to decide.
Fixed and why it was fixed. Listen, understand it was a big nostalgia hit. It got our attention. It was a big financial promotion for everybody, and it actually worked. Now, the fight was absolutely terrible, and it feels like Paul was holding back his punches. At times, Mike Tyson was holding back punches. If these guys went full out on each other, right, it would look bad on Jake Paul for knocking out a guy that's twice his age, right? And it would look bad on Mike Tyson if he got knocked out as well. It would tarnish his legacy. Not only that, if Mike Tyson hit Jake Paul and knocked him out, it would ruin the legacy that Paul wants to leave as he continues to fight. He didn't want to tarnish that losing to a guy who's twice his age. So we'll look back either way. So to answer your question, 100% this was fixed. They sat it out and talked about it. It went to decision because that was a neutral way to end it, and it went the full 8 rounds to keep people entertained. They didn't want it to end quickly.
One of the most glaring moments was Tyson's apparent reluctance to go all out during the fight. That there were points where he clearly had openings to land his signature punches, but didn't. For a man who built his career on knocking opponents out with devastating speed and power, this seemed unusual. Tyson's style has always been about aggression, going in hard and fast, aiming to end fights early. But in this match, that fire was missing. Take, for example, the 3rd round. Tyson seemed to let up when Jake left himself exposed after a step. In another era, Tyson would have pounced on that opportunity, but instead he hesitated. Was this a calculated move to make the fight last longer, or was he simply holding back for some other reason? Fans started piecing together these clues, and the whispers of a staged fight turned into loud accusations. Some argued that the lack of heavy punches from both sides wasn't a coincidence, but a deliberate choice. How wrong was I? I let my heart rule my head. I picked Mike Tyson to be Jake Paul. Let's remember Mike Tyson, the warrior of old, not the old warrior that was in front of Jake Paul. Take nothing away from Jake Paul. I congratulate the young man on his win. I congratulate him on his courage to come into the boxing ring to fight anybody, let alone fight a legend. The audience had been promised an unforgettable match, something worth the price of admission, and instead what they got felt flat, leaving many to wonder were these moments of hesitation.